This is the 1969 Chevy El Camino Phaser MK2 ReadySet from Kyosho. Today we're gonna check out this four-wheel drive car in our studio, then we'll go outside and drive it, and lastly, we're going to add a sound simulator system to add another scale dimension to this classic. As you probably guessed it, the El Camino is a scale radio-controlled car that comes ready to run as part of Kyosho's ReadySet line. So it's a pre-assembled model, including this scale recreation of the 1969 Chevy El Camino body, and it looks great, but we'll talk more about the body in a minute. Now, even though this is a ready-to-run vehicle, a few items are required. First, the vehicle needs 4 AA alkaline batteries to power the included transmitter, which is impressively nice, and it's standard equipment for all the Phaser MK2 models. Second, the vehicle needs a battery pack. Choices are a 6-cell nickel metal hydride battery, or if you want to increase performance and runtime, a 2S LiPo battery is also compatible. And of course, an appropriate battery charger for one of those battery types is required. But when you have all those items, the El Camino is ready to cruise through the neighborhood, and cruise it does in style. Now, to make this possible, the El Camino is made from a few key parts that bring this vehicle to life, and that includes the main Phaser MK2 chassis, providing our performance, and then our tires and body, providing our style. Looking at the Phaser MK2 chassis first, it's a fairly compact and simple four-wheel drive 1/10 scale on-road setup. And it should look familiar if you've been following this channel for a while, because Kyosho offers several vehicles with this same chassis platform for on-road and off-road, and we've made several videos on them. With this El Camino though, it's the longer chassis, technically referred to as the FZ02L. And that L is really important, indicating that this is the long chassis, not the standard FZ02. Here's what that difference looks side by side with the long chassis on the left. These vehicles are aligned by their front axle. The difference isn't that big, but it's really important because the most popular upgrade for these chassis platforms is the aluminum center drive shaft. And if you aren't paying attention to that L when you choose a drive shaft, it's easy to pick the wrong one. Those aluminum drive shafts are great upgrades if you want to upgrade your power system to something faster down the road, like a 3S brushless system for instance. But in its stock form, the plastic drive shaft and the included electronics are pretty dang good. Now, to move the tires, we have a Kyosho waterproof servo mounted up front under this plastic shroud. Behind that, under another plastic shroud, you'll find our 3-channel receiver, and it's not waterproof. Behind the receiver is our 60 amp brushed electronic speed controller with a T-style battery connector. On this speed controller is a jumper that configures the low voltage cutoff for either nickel metal battery use or LiPo battery use. From the factory, the ESC is set to LiPo mode. So for anyone who wants to use nickel metal batteries, you need to go and manually pick up that jumper and move it to NIM mode. Now, our last piece of electronics is our brushed motor, which uses a fixed gear mesh motor mount that helps simplify gearing changes for the beginner. The chassis also uses simple Velcro straps so you can secure nearly any sized battery. There's also a big old foam bumper in the front to help with impacts. You'll find on all 4 corners offer large oversized dog bones and oil-filled shocks. There are also grease-filled gear differentials in the front and rear gearbox. Of course, our plastic drive shaft runs down the center and used throughout the MK2. You'll find metric hex screws and full ball bearings. Now let's switch gears and check out this awesome scale body, which is made from one Lexan piece that has been painted gloss black, detailed in chrome, and scaled out. Now, starting up front is one large grille decal wrapping from side to side. Mounted on top of that are plastic headlight buckets that you can add your own LEDs into, but they're not included. Those headlight buckets are secured to the body from the inside. Below the headlights is our hard plastic chrome front bumper that's also secured to the body from the inside, and it features a true-to-life shape with a point in the center. Now, moving down the body, you'll see plenty of more decals for our side blinkers, our door handles, and various branding. More decals are used over the windows to provide a tint and more chrome trim detailing. We also have hard plastic side mirrors on each side in chrome, secured to the body from the inside, and they are slightly reflective. In the back, you'll get a good look at the El Camino bed, which has been recreated to have a cover. Creating a drop bed with Lexan material is very hard, so this was a pretty smart alternative. This bed cover is the only piece on the body painted in a flat black, and it was made to have these support lines to give it life. Now all the way in the back is our scale rear end, featuring more branding and decals for the reverse and brake lights. Although, when you peel up the brake decal, you'll see Kyosho added brake light buckets from the inside of the body and left the Lexan clear to act like lenses. So you can add your own LEDs and have full working lights in this car. Now below those brake lights is our last hard plastic chrome bumper, again, screwed to the body. The final element to the scale recreation are going to be our tires and wheels that come pre-glued and installed on the car. You'll need a 2.5mm hex driver to remove them though, but once you do, you'll see the scale brake discs and calipers underneath. These wheels use a 12mm hex, and an extra set of wide hexes are included, so you can configure the chassis to have a 200mm width instead of the 190mm width it's configured at. The last thing worth pointing out about these tires and wheels is just how cool they look sitting underneath the body, with the body having the fenders flared out just enough for it to all look real scale, real polished. Alright, how fast does this thing go? Let's do a speed run with a 2-cell LiPo. Alright, let's spice things up a little bit and use this ESS1 sound simulator. This is the single speaker version. There is the ESS dual. It's larger and it has 2 speakers. So to hook this thing up, all we have to do is first unplug the ESC wire from channel 2 on our receiver. Then we'll plug that ESC wire into one of our 2 open ends in this Y splitter included in the ESS. Now plug the ESS unit into one of the other open split ends of that Y splitter. There's also a plug coming off the ESS with a single yellow wire that is used for the auxiliary channel, where you want to press a 3rd channel button and have a sound like a horn fire off. We're not going to use that. Next, we want to connect the ESS power wire to the included adapter with the ESS. Now we'll connect the other end of that included power wire adapter to the connector on our ESC. Thankfully, the ESS power adapter uses a T-style connector, making this installation effortless. If the vehicle were to use a different connector, we'd probably have to do some soldering or some connector changes. Now with everything wired up, we want to plug in the Y splitter to our channel 2 on the receiver. Now we just want to clean up our wires with some zip ties, keep everything clean, mount the ESS unit in the vehicle somewhere where the body will fit once you put it on. With space limited, we just double-sided tape the ESS unit directly to our LiPo. Lastly, the ESS needs to be calibrated to your transmitter trigger travel, and then it's ready to use. The ESS does come pre-programmed with some sounds. That's what we're using. But there are tons of other audio clips that you can browse through, download, and program into your unit absolutely free. So, how does it sound, guys? This ESS sound system is excellent to use. The only issue is a noisy drivetrain may be louder than the unit. But the engine revs, the idle sounds, the startup, it's such a great addition to this already awesome El Camino. It's a vehicle that's a great platform for someone just starting out in the hobby. It has all the scale appeal for someone who may be a model collector, and it's also awesome for anyone looking for easy and convenient parking lot fun. Guys, check out this El Camino with our links down below, and check out these videos for more RC.